So in case you might have missed it or forgot, that consequences are forever. They don't just stop because you change. They don't just cease to exist because you've turned over a new leaf. I haven't done a video in a long time because there's a lot of things going on in my life, consequences that I'm dealing with. And I thought it was time that I shared a little bit of what I'm going through. Not as raw as I would like to, but I need to tell you guys something. If you make decisions that you regret, you can't blame God. Let me say that again. If you make decisions that you regret, and you feel like you should not have done them because of the consequences that came with it, you cannot blame God. And the reason why I'm saying this is because here recently I had a conversation with my wife Penny, and we were talking about my employment situation and where things are going, and how changes and seasons are always happening in our lives. And these seasons and these changes happen because of the decisions we make. Not because God isn't honoring His word, not because God isn't taking care of us. Look, the Word of God is clear that when you sow, you reap. God is not in the business of suspending that principle. It's like gravity. You can have all the faith in the world. If you jump off a building, you're going to fall down and die. Same thing in our daily lives. When you make decisions based on what you thought was best in the moment, and then later on it doesn't work, you can't blame God. You can't even try to clean it up and say, well, God is maybe leading me in this direction, or maybe the Lord had something else in mind for you. No. God doesn't have anything in mind for you but for you to work out your salvation. So let's stop overly spiritualizing God and the scriptures and Christianity and our decision making, and let's just call it what it is. We are being impulsive. We aren't, being led by logic, but instead we're being moved by our emotions and by the fleeting and passing moments of whatever it is that we're going through at the time. And then we make decisions, and then things don't turn out the way we want them to, and things happen. Life hurts. And then we blame God. Oh, Brother Ruben, I don't blame God. I just think that maybe, no, that's a subtle attempt of shifting responsibility for what you foolishly chose to do on God. And you're spiritualizing it. I've been guilty of it. And I told Penny the other day, my decision to go here or do this or work here or work there or whatever is because I believe that certain things aren't the way they're supposed to be, and I make my decisions based on that rationale. Not because God is moving me, not because I've got this unction, I've got this, no. And I think we need to stop doing that, man, because we subtly blame God, we indirectly, or as a byproduct of that rationale, or lack thereof, we shift the responsibility onto somebody else. Because if I'm being brutally honest here, when I met Penny was an unbeliever. She wasn't a Christian. And you guys that know me, I'm a staunch believer in the scriptures, especially when it comes to being unequally yoked. Penny was an unbeliever when I met her. We dated. We had sex outside of marriage. We got married. All in violation of the scriptures. So consequences came with that. Does that mean I divorce her? Does that mean I just, you know what, screw it. I guess I'm not a Christian. I guess, or maybe God's not gonna. No, that was something that I did. And there's a consequence that comes with that. I love my wife. I love my son, Justin. I wouldn't turn back the hands of time for anything. I'm committed to my wife. I'm committed to my son. And I'm also committed to the Word of God. How do I reconcile that? I can't. I was disobedient. And the consequences that came with that, hey, I got to fade it, man, as we say in the penitentiary. Fade it, bruh. So if you have made decisions in violation of the scriptures, or you've been impulsive, and now you're hurting because of those decisions, You need to back up. You need to realize that God isn't the one to blame here. It's you. It's your decisions. It's what you did. It's how you violated sound reasoning. It's how you chose to do what you wanted to do, regardless of what you knew the Word of God was saying for you to do. So yes, consequences are forever. Consequences are eternal, because life is just like that, folks. We are connected interdependently with everything around us. If, for example, I lean back and fall off this trailer, there's a consequence that comes with that. Maybe I break my back, I got to go to the hospital, then that results in some money I have to forfeit. Maybe I wasn't saving money, so now this is going to happen, and then because of that, then me and my wife were going to fight, and that's going to happen, and then Justin's acting crazy because he's just a kid, and I'm frustrated, and I'm going to go off on that, and it's just ongoing. It's a chain reaction. It's a domino effect. Who's to blame? God? I wasn't prayed up? I wasn't spiritual enough? No, it's just life. And we need to get to the point in our Christian lives where we stop thinking that everything that we have to do has to be quote unquote led by God. I don't believe that. I really don't. Call me a heretic, but I don't believe that everything we do has to be quote unquote led by the Spirit of God. No, it needs to be, our decisions need to be informed on a healthy and properly well-balanced, contextually interpreted application of the Word of God. That's how our decisions need to be based. Not on some feeling, not on some emotion, because a lot of us make decisions in the moment thinking God's leading us, thinking this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm supposed to go here, I'm supposed to work there, and I'm supposed to be with this person, or I'm supposed to come. No! Do what you're going to do. Make your decisions, but don't blame God. Fade the consequences. They come. I'm enduring consequences. I'm not complaining. I'm cool. You know why? Because my responsibility, number one, is to be as faithful of a steward as I can to God and what He's entrusted me with. And what He's entrusted me with is my wife, Penny. What He's entrusted me with is Justin, my son. They are my responsibility. Not how faithfully I attend a church service, not how much I teach and preach the gospel, not how much I do prison ministry. That's not my primary responsibility. And it's not yours either. Your responsibility is to be a faithful steward of your finances, to be a faithful steward of your home. Stop trying to save the world. Stop trying to be some role model Christian when your own life, when your own home is falling apart. This video is way overdue. Again, like I said, I haven't done one in a long time because I'm going through seasons and transitions right now, but I'm not complaining. I'm blessed. I love my life. I love my wife. I love my son. Things are great. Did you hear me? Things are great. There's nothing to complain about. But I think that it needs to be said that when you make decisions based on an impulse, based on a feeling, based on an emotion, and it doesn't work out, it's not God's fault. Don't spiritualize it. It's you. You did what you did. Own up. Don't be a victim. Don't blame God. Don't put it off on some divining of this will that you need to fix. Stop it. Make decisions to the best of your ability, being properly informed by the scriptures, not by prayer, air quotes, not by feeling, not by an emotion, but by a properly interpreted, contextually interpreted application of the Word of God. And face the consequences. Whether or not it goes out and it happens the way you want, hey, that's just the law of sowing and reaping and sowing. It just happens that way. But stop blaming God. Do what you got to do to live your life. Stop blaming God.